welcome to PCMC. Hey, you want to say welcome? Why don't you say welcome?
Welcome, everyone, to PCMC. I'm Anthony Bongiorno, and I'm joined today by Mike Bongiorno. Mike, how are you?
Thanks for having me here. It's great to be here. This is a Fully episode. That's when an episode gets excited and it just elongates.
I'd like to point out that it's full episode, but it's become fully.
It's a Fully.
And now that's what it is. It's a Fully.
It's a Fully, yeah. Does the website that hosts the podcast put a little red mark on it to tell me that it's an incorrect word? Yes, but I don't let that kind of negativity.
No, you can't let that stuff get to you.
Get in the way of my life. So this is a raging full episode that.
This is a raging erection of an episode.
This is the kind of episode where if you get an episode like this in school, you're going to walk around with your book bag in front of it all day. Because no one's going to notice. That's just a normal thing. That's a normal thing people do. Walk around with their book bags right in front of them. Who doesn't do that?
You got to at least pretend you're rooting around in there looking for a pencil.
Yeah. Can you imagine being that young? Where it just happens without you wanting it to happen?
Yeah.
Now I gotta do a rain dance and pray to a god and don't get old, kids.
Impotence.
No, I'm not all the way impotent, but I can get it going.
You don't get accidentals.
No, accidentals do not happen. They don't just happen on their own anymore. What are we talking about? This is no way to start an episode.
Male erections.
This is what happens when I let you start an episode.
I'm sorry.
It goes off the goddamn rails. What full means is we're going to have 3 segments. News with trailers. The Chill Sesh, which is just what we're currently consuming. And our current obsessions, the thing that really we're thinking about or just talking about and texting about. And the current thing that's the thing.
Living in our heads.
That's
currently.
right. Living rent-free.
Rent-free.
As the kids would say 3 years ago.
Skibbity toilet, am I right?
So, Anthony, how are you doing?
I'm I started to say terrific, and then in the middle I was like, should I say terrible?
I'm terrible.
The truth is I'm just okay. No, I'm good. I went back to work this week, so I'm feeling that. Summer is over. And the weather really just switched up. The day I went back to work, it turned into fall.
Which is beautiful.
Which is horrible. I'm not a fall girly.
You like the summer?
I love the summer. I mean,
That
I don't
surprises
love
me.
hot. I just love freedom. I don't have to work in the summer.
I hate the summer.
I guess. So I love the summer.
Well, I'm talking about just the conditions.
Just based on vibes.
The physical conditions.
Yeah, just based on vibes, the fall is great. But for me, the fall represents, I'm at the beginning of a long year of work.
Well, I support teachers, but
who doesn't?
I would remind you that the rest of us
work throughout the year,
all year round.
Yeah. But
so it's surprising.
I know you're excited for fall to get here. You're a fall girly.
I am.
Is that a pumpkin spice you got right there?
You bet I do.
Yep.
You bet I got a pumpkin spice.
You got your Lactaid?
I did take a Lactaid. I asked for oat milk. But then I looked on I'm the kind of Karen who looks on the sticker to see it's all right. And I don't see oat milk on here, so I took 2 Lactates just to be careful.
Well, how does Lactaid work? Do you take it before consuming any kind of dairy?
The first bite.
And how long is it time? How does it work?
It's got to be in your belly when the Lactaid. It's giving you an enzyme that you don't normally have. Okay. Well, it's not a time thing. It's if you're putting dairy in your belly, you should have this also swirling around your belly.
Okay. But it's not the clock is ticking. You got an hour to get this thing done. All
right. So let's say, because me and Jen both take it. We're a real old couple where we're like, you got the pills. So let's say we go and we have a nice pasta fagioli dinner. And we know there's going to be cheese. All right. We'll take it in the beginning. And then.
Do you take extra if it's something that's extra cheesy?
No.
Okay, so it doesn't work like
that. They say 1 or 2. We usually take 2.
I would take anytime it's 1 or 2. I always take 2.
What I was going to say is, let's say after pasta fagioli, we decide to have a little tartufo or whatever the fuck it's called.
Then you take it again?
No. Then we go it's the same to us.
All right.
And look, 9 out of 10 times it works like a charm.
All right.
And then
what's with that one time?
You wet your pants with diarrhea. Is what you do.
I'm sure I need to take it. But anytime I tell
Yes.
people that, they're like, of course, we all need to take it.
And you don't like people having things to say?
I just
You don't
I mean,
like people with their high horses
No,
and their
it's
knowledge?
not that. It's just that, like, I feel like the fact that I even say that I should take lactate is just so, like, ugh, like, of course, everybody reminds me that, like, what a stupid take that is. Because it's like, yeah, every time I eat dairy, I fucking get diarrhea. Of course I do.
Yeah,
Like,
so
I
why
have an
don't
ice
you
cream
do
cone
that
and then
for
immediately
yourself?
get a stomach ache. Because it took me 5 years to realize
Yeah.
that there was a correlation between those two things.
It
Like
did,
an idiot.
and it did me as well. And aging does have to do with it too. I mean, I used to be able
For sure.
to eat dairy without immediately
I mean, I don't
ruining
get, like,
my pants.
I don't get, like,
These pants are toast.
I don't get, like, immediate explosive diarrhea, but I get, like, a stomach ache that will, like, I'll say about 50% of the time is diarrhea.
One time when I was teaching, a student had been absent, and then they came in with a note that said, like, so-and-so was sick. And I pretended to read it out loud and said, oh, so-and-so was sick with explosive diarrhea. It was
I work with a teacher who said that when the kids ask her to go to the bathroom, she's like, sorry, your mom called and she says you have to pee your pants. Which is just so, like, stupid,
mom called?
but funny, especially since they're high school kids.
That's hilarious.
Sorry, your mom called. She said, actually, you need to pee your pants.
That's hilarious. Anyway, well, listen. In the last couple of years, I've been to the ER twice.
Yeah.
One was for really
What you thought was appendicitis, right?
yes, and it turned out to just be like either back pain or just such tremendous gas that it was killing me. And then the one before that,
Tremendous diagnosis. Tremendous gas.
Yeah. And then the one before that was here's what I did. Looking back now, I see where the problem is. I went out to have pizza
Yeah.
with Vin from PCMC, and I had a slice of white pie.
So you just had cheese.
Yeah. And then I was like, let me go for a little exercise. Let me go for a little walk. And I got struck like lightning in the bowels. And that's when I had, what do you call it? Colitis.
Colitis.
Yeah, which
Well, that's like an inflammation of the interior of your stomach, isn't it?
right. Well, they said it was probably from like food poisoning or something, but the white pie I think didn't help.
Yeah,
I
sure.
just realized that a lot of the pain in my life comes from the stomach, and why don't I do anything I can to make that not happen? So I
Yeah.
started taking lactate.
I feel like you're like Jackie Gleason, like always like carrying around like a bottle of like Pepto-Bismol, sucking it down.
I thought you were saying I'm like the dad from Big Mouth, played by what's his name? Fucking, he's also the clown in Inside Out 1. That great character actor. What's his name? He talks like this. He's cousin Andy.
Oh, from
Larry.
Curb. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know who you mean. Richard Kind?
Richard Kind.
Yeah.
Like I thought you were gonna say I'm like Richard Kind from Big Mouth, where you remember the episode of Big Mouth where he's allergic to shellfish but he can't stop eating it and he's like, it's pulling in my shoes.
I do. Yeah.
All right. So we got some news. We got two pieces of news today because one of them's kind of bigger and I feel like we'll talk about it more. Maybe not. And then we got some trailers. Let's start with the big news and then we'll go to the stupider news. Let's see here.
Pulling it up on the news machine.
Yes. I'm getting this from the Hollywood Reporter.
A reliable source.
There's been a million of these articles lately. This is the one I liked and the one that was free. Mm-hmm. He's looking at you, Variety, trying to make me pay for you. Once a cash cow, cable TV is now roadkill. Is a fire sale next? Mm-hmm. This is written by Alex Weprin on August 13th. As Paramount and Warner Brothers Discovery take massive hits to their businesses, executives will need to make difficult choices on managing the decline. In September 2022, a few months before the unexpected return to the Walt Disney Company, Bob Iger warned that, quote, a world of hurt was coming to linear TV business. Sitting on the stage at the Beverly Hilton's International Ballroom, Iger told his interviewer, Kara Swisher, that linear TV and satellite is marching towards a great precipice, and it will be pushed off. And I can't tell you when, but it goes away. It now feels like As of this week, the business has plummeted off that precipice. On August 7th, Warner Brothers Discovery took a $9 billion impairment on its linear cable channels. I had to look up what impairment means. It's basically like a loss, but it's not a loss. You realize that the thing that your corporation holds is worth way less than you thought it was. So it's sort of a loss, and it has a huge effect on future profits. It has a huge effect on your stocks.
Okay.
A $9 billion would it be impairment on its linear cable channels. Linear meaning
like
cable
programmed.
Yeah.
In a blocks of time.
Yeah, basic cable. Right, not the networks, but cable. What we used to call cable back in the day.
So just what it sounded like is everything's going to be an on-demand service or streaming.
Let's see.
Sorry to.
I know.
Sorry to make an inference.
I rarely read the whole thing, but I feel like it's complicated because I don't understand business or math or numbers or letters.
Yeah.
This was a move made in part because of the apparent loss of NBA rights and uncertainty around affiliate renewals. A couple days later, so this is the problem. This is the story, which is these things happened like dominoes. That was Warner Brothers Discovery. A couple days later, Paramount Global took a $6 billion charge on its cable channels, sparked by the valuation associated with the Skydance deal. $15 billion in value wiped out in an instant. Mm-hmm. Cable's iceberg has been melting for years. Iger, it should be noted, first warned that cable TV might have peaked in an infamous August 2015 earning call in which he kind of put everybody's attention to the beginning of the decline. But what has been a slow melt appears to have turned into an almost total collapse. Quote, the cable networks just are in this horrific, perennial, never-ending decline, says Rafe Elrich. It's been more abysmal, I think, than almost anybody expected.
Yikes.
Even just 2 years ago, when the handwriting was on the wall, we still thought it would be a slower pace than it's actually happening. The decline has been driven by cord cutting, of course, but in recent quarters, the cable business has faced a double whammy. Not only are subscribers declining faster than carriage fees are rising, but advertising dollars are fleeing TV, as the proliferation of ad-supported streaming options provides new places for marketers to spend their budgets. Cord cutting has been a headwind for this linear television business over the past couple of years, and we're seeing no real signs of improvement. But the bigger recent challenge around the U.S. linear advertising has taken the pressure up a different level, because now you have both your revenue streams working against you, says Robert Fishman, senior analysis at MoffettNathanson. So it's forcing these linear cable networks to really try to figure out what the future of them looks like from a cash flow perspective, given the challenges they're facing from the broader ecosystem, and what that does to their top line. So they're being forced to essentially cut back on expenses to help alleviate or try to alleviate some of that pressure. It goes on to say that, skipping ahead, so what happens next? According to analysts, the chaos is only just beginning. Cable channels could become the new newspapers, targets for investment funds looking to milk cash cows out of them for as long as possible.
Okay.
Or cable channels could pursue a roll-up, either through an existing company or through a third party, meaning they're so worthless, some third party comes and just buys a ton of these channels and sells them for cheap because they're worth so little. Okay. It's like, it's a fire sale, basically. I think about the 1984 classic Gremlins, when sex symbol of the time, Judge Reinhold, said to Phoebe Cates, why don't you come over to my house? I mean, I've got cable. And that was his, like, come on line. Yeah. Cable was like, I've got something. You people with your 4 networks or 5 networks, I've got cable. Yeah. Now it is worthless. And it's crazy that it's sort of like earlier this month, kind of all at once, all these big companies kind of like came to the realization or fessed up that a big part of their business is like basically worthless, which that revelation will only make things worse because the advertisers that were fleeing will continue to flee. Because what's the point of paying to advertise your product on basic cable? You can't even do what you do online where you could target it towards people.
So that's where I'm a little confused. So like something like HBO doesn't have commercials. So aren't they just totally?
But that's not basic cable. That's premium cable.
This is basic cable we're talking about.
This is your TLCs, your TBSs,
Bravo.
Yeah, I mean there's a lot of this stuff.
So then, okay, that's interesting. So then, what is it? Does it sound like these properties are just going to go to? It's just streaming.
Already, basically, if you're a creator or a producer, streaming is where you go to first to try to get something sold. So already the whole industry has moved in that direction.
Right.
What you see mostly in terms of original programming, the things you see most on cable is reality shows because they typically have large franchises that go on for 1 million seasons. They do like 3 seasons a year, and they're cheap to make. I think you're gonna see a lot of you're gonna see the roll up thing. You're gonna see all of a sudden like there's gonna be a new cable provider that gives you like 1 billion zillion channels.
Okay.
Probably for way less than you were paying for cable now.
Yeah, well, that would be good.
The big companies will probably sell it off to third parties for that. So they'll probably be separated from internet packages, which is what they've been doing for like the last 20 years.
So then those...
But also a lot of us aren't going to buy it, right? I mean, like, let's say you found... What do you have?
Spectrum, okay.
So let's say Spectrum comes to you and says, listen, we're getting rid of cable. You're going to be charged less just for the internet. All right? Do you then go to a third party that like will, probably more than likely stream cable to you, or what do you do?
So then what, like...
There's also an infrastructure here,
would it be
which is like, I don't know what they're going to do with that infrastructure.
If they sell them off to like third parties, are these going to become like cheaper? Like when you turn on the TV,
yeah,
and you turn on like channel 18,
yeah,
or channel 78 is CNN or whatever,
yeah.
What'll you see?
I mean, it depends. Like with CNN, they'll probably...
My fear is, will they sell it off to a bunch of like... Is it going to truly become like the newspaper business where like they'll sell it off to like a bunch of people with agendas, and then this is only going to make the misinformation and disinformation crisis worse? Where like TV will just be like the Wild West.
I don't know about that necessarily. I do feel like you'll have these vultures that come in and pick up for very cheap something that was once profitable and then sell it back to you. I don't know if it's going to hurt this. It's going to lead to more disinformation. I don't know. It's very, I'm just sort of poking in the dark. All of this stuff is a little complicated to me in terms of business. I'm not a business person, but also
I don't think they know what it's going to look like.
Yeah, predicting. We're talking about like, we've seen things go away, right? We've seen newspapers not go away, but none of that's the thing. No a medium never dies, right?
It's just
it can
far
become
fewer.
It becomes a different part of our culture.
But it's also like newspapers are now, and a lot of news, like local news channels, are like owned by a parent company that pumps them full of disinformation. That's what I mean. Where like there are no independent newspapers or news channels anymore. Right, they're all owned by like big companies with interests. I
think you're right. I mean, that's possible. You would imagine that the only people still consuming this stuff would be an older crowd. I mean, do you remember when broadcast stopped? Right, like in the 2010s,
I remember hearing that it was going to stop, and then it happened, and I just never noticed.
Well, because the networks are still beamed to us, still broadcast to us through cable providers,
but you can't watch TV with antenna anymore.
Right?
Yeah,
it's not there anymore. It's not being sent through the way the sky anymore.
Yeah,
and at the time, I remember there were like little cheapo commercials in local markets that was like aimed at an older crowd, and it was like on September 15th or whatever. I don't remember the date. The TV will not be working, but for $5, send $5 to us, and we'll send you this little box, and you'll be able to get the networks, whatever.
Yeah,
maybe something like that will happen. Because even those who are who were not exactly cord cutters, but we're like, I keep it around for the Super Bowl or whatever, reason you have. A lot of those people, I think, aren't gonna, cry a river if they lose it.
Right.
Especially because you're not gonna lose big properties. Like, you like the Real Housewives. They're not going to close shop.
No,
They're
no.
just going to move to streaming.
Right.
CNN will either become 24-hour streaming or find some other way to do it. So what's going to be left is the fucking dreck.
Yeah. It reminds me sort of like, I wonder if they'll follow this model. Like, some of the streamings already have this where like you need to be, or maybe this is just the premiums, I guess, but like you need to have the channel to access the streaming, in the way that like everybody has a landline that they don't even know the number of because it's for some reason still cheaper to buy the package with the landline.
But I don't even know why you do that, because we already have for free, but with advertising, Pluto and Tubi. Is it Tubi? Yeah, Pluto and Tubi. Right? Do you have those?
I think I do.
Pluto and Tubi are streamers, but they also have, like, besides on-demand stuff, they have, like, quote-unquote channels that are, like, the spooky channel or the
so
whatever
it's like
channel.
a little TiVo within.
Right, and they make you watch ads.
Yeah.
But what they'll do is they'll make you watch ads up front. Instead of breaking, like, traditional TV, they'll make you watch a couple ads up front.
Well, like Peacock does that.
Yeah.
They're like, enjoy your program after these ads, and it's 3 straight minutes of ads.
Right.
And then I leave the room and go take a shit.
Right. So
they don't win.
So we already have stuff like that. That's, buying cheap stuff to put on and then making advertising. I mean, basically with Pluto and Tubi are basically basic cable channels. It's the basic cable operation, but done streaming.
Is it Tubi that's like kind of a joke, or is that Quibi?
That was Quibi.
Okay.
Quibi was a huge.
It was like
that was supposed to be like It
was like 5-minute shows or something.
Yeah, that's not Tubi.
Okay.
Tubi and Pluto are basically the same thing.
Okay.
You turn them on. They've got live channels like I think Pluto has a Godzilla channel that just plays Godzilla movies all day. There's a billion of those, but then also you just search like you could on Netflix. And there are ads that they make you watch, and that's it.
Yeah. I wonder how it's like the reason we haven't cut the cord is not, I mean, we do watch the Super Bowl, but like you don't need cable to watch Super Bowl anymore. Like you could find it.
Right.
Or you don't need a cable box. The thing that always is kind of like where it comes around, it's like a kind of like what's it called? Like a snake that like eats its own tail or whatever, is like we call the cable company and they'll say like, okay, if you want to keep the service but get rid of the box, it's only going to save you like $5.
Right. I feel
so
like,
then it's just like, what the hell's the point?
Right. Basically, I think cable has been skating by because there's been this model of, basically these telecommunication companies having these big portfolios where they have the internet and cable.
Right. Well, like,
without the internet involved, a lot of us wouldn't be paying for cable, like you said.
I'm pointing to my bedroom. The TV in there, the box has not been plugged in for like 5 years because I just unplugged it to plug something else in, and I never needed to plug it back in because we have Apple TV in there, and there's a Spectrum app on Apple TV where you just watch Spectrum. So it's silly.
It's you don't need it.
But to take the box, it's a whole thing to take the box all the way there, and you don't even save any money. So it's like, oh, whatever.
Right.
So I wonder if this will speed up. Maybe let's just get rid of this fucking thing.
I think it will, because with these big public announcements, and I don't understand. Like I said, I don't understand business. I don't understand if they're advised to do this or something leaked and they had to do this. Like, I don't understand why these big corporations come out all at once.
The longer I
and
live,
say
the longer
what we have is not valuable.
Yeah.
But whatever choice led them to that, that's gonna exacerbate and make all this happen much quicker.
Yeah. I was gonna say the longer I live, the longer I feel like nothing is ever leaked by accident.
Yeah, I agree.
So I feel like someone's benefiting from this getting out.
Yeah. Or I think also probably these corporations do still put a lot of effort into that part of their business, and I think they probably like don't want to anymore.
Yeah.
They're like, fuck it.
I mean, who wants to keep pumping money into something that is just losing money?
Right.
And there's
What's the point?
There's no end in sight, and this is not a valley. Like, it's just downhill.
And without advertisers, there's no point in any of this.
Yeah.
Right, it's just downhill. It's not going to come back. Because it's not it's not like vinyl or VHS, which is now like back in the nerd community. Like, it's not a singular cool thing that you could hold in your hand and be like, look how retro. No one's going to be ironically watching cable.
No, it's like it's like a subscription service that is very expensive that a lot of families would like love to not have to pay for.
It's like the milkman.
Yeah.
You'll describe to your children like, you know, before streaming,
Yeah.
we used to have they had a wire that came into the house and it would just show us all the shows.
Before it was crazy.
And they told us when it was on.
Well, that's what I was just going to say is we've talked about this before, but we really are like our children are not going to grow up in a world where like anything is just on.
Right. I mean,
unless someone else is watching it.
The articles that I keep reading about this keep using the term linear cable.
Which I've never heard before.
I had not heard before either. But I knew exactly what it meant when they said it.
Like, so many movies I just saw because they were on.
Right. Well, that's lamentable.
Yeah.
Whether or not people will be able to just stumble upon something the way they once did.
Yeah. Interesting.
All right. So our next piece of news. Now, the other day to the group chat, I sent a trailer for Megalopolis. Did you happen to see that?
I did not.
You son of a bitch. Well, it doesn't exist anymore because, and I posted it with my own comment. This is the most brilliant marketing I've ever seen.
Okay. That's interesting.
So a new trailer came out for Megalopolis, right?
Yeah.
And the trailer like begins with Lawrence Fishburne talking. He's in the movie, and he must say this line in the movie, like, genius is often not seen in its time. And you see The Godfather, 1970, whatever, and then some Pauline Kael, this movie's trash, blah, 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 blah. And then Apocalypse Now, this is a piece of self-indulgent garbage, blah, 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 blah. Dracula, this is the worst thing I've ever seen. And then now, and I thought, wow, that's so brilliant for this great filmmaker to point out how every one of his great movies had negative reviews because all we hear now is these negative reviews of Megalopolis. Right. Well, that trailer got pulled down almost immediately because whoever created it, the marketing team that created it, used AI, and the quotes aren't real.
Wow. None of them?
Yes.
Why would they
Oh no, some of them are from different movies.
Jesus.
So this is from.
That's a huge scandal.
It's crazy. So this is from Variety. I said before Variety wouldn't let me read. So then it wasn't Variety. Maybe it was whatever. Lionsgate pulls Megalopolis trailer offline due to made-up critic quotes and issues an apology. We screwed up. Lionsgate is recalling its latest trailer for Francis Ford Coppola's epic Megalopolis, which featured a litany of fabricated quotes from famous critics. Boy, this movie has got nothing but like weird press before
They were
it came
attributed to real people?
Yes.
It'd be funny if they were like, they made no sense grammatically because they were AI.
And you see like a picture of like Roger Ebert, but he's got 17 fingers.
Yeah. This movie has great teeth.
Lionsgate is immediately recalling our trailer for Megalopolis, a Lionsgate spokesperson said in a statement provided to Variety. We offer sincere apologies to the critics involved. I think a lot of the critics involved are dead. They quote Pauline Kael and
this is the best movie I've ever seen. Thomas Edison.
And they also apologize to Francis Ford Coppola and American Zoetrope for this inexcusable error in our vetting process.
He didn't. This doesn't.
No, this is whoever
the marketing team.
The marketing team did this. By the way, it's a brilliant idea, and I bet you could really do it if you put in the fucking effort.
Like a minute of effort.
The trailer released on Wednesday morning aimed to position Coppola's latest film as a work of art that would withstand the test of time, much like his previous masterpieces, The Godfather and Apocalypse Now. The video includes several quotes from critics panning Coppola's previous work, but none of the phrases attributed to the likes of Roger Ebert, Pauline Kael, could be found in any of their reviews. Variety's Owen Gleiberman was incorrectly cited as calling the 1992 film Bram Stoker's Dracula a beautiful mess and highlighted its absurdity when he reviewed the film for Entertainment Weekly, where he worked at the time of its release. Even if you're one of those people who don't like critics, we hardly deserve to have words put in our mouths. Then again, the trivial scandal of all this is the whole Megalopolis trailer is built on a false narrative. Gleiberman said that the trailer's falsified quotes, critics love The Godfather, and thought Apocalypse Now was divisive. It received a lot of crucial critical support. So he's saying that the narrative's not even true. People did like these movies when they came out. Where did it say? I read somewhere. Oh, here, this is. It's not clear where most of the quotes featured in the trailer come from, with the exception of Roger Ebert's quote, "A triumph of style over substance," which was actually pulled from his 1989 review of Batman, not Dracula.
I feel like I've read that before.
So they took from a different movie.
Yeah.
The trailer snafu was the latest in a string of scandals befalling the $120 million production, which Coppola financed entirely himself. Last month, Variety exclusively obtained video depicting Coppola trying to kiss a young female extra on the set. Oh, they have video of it now.
Oh, boy.
As additional crew members detailed his unprofessional behavior during production.
Oh, God.
Megalopolis will hit theaters in September 27th.
I'm sure it'll do great.
I don't know. This one didn't say AI. I saw some other article that blamed it on AI, or it said at least the marketing people are blaming AI. Pretty bananas, huh?
That's really crazy. I never understand how these things happen. Like these things that are so unbelievably easy to disprove.
Well, I think
unless you're a real conspiracy theory and you think that like that's the point, just to get the movie some press.
Well, as I've said 5 times before, I'm not really good with business, but from my understanding, I think that a lot of marketing is driven by what's hot and what's a hot sort of up and coming firm.
Yeah.
If movies have taught me anything,
yeah,
that you need where you're pitching your idea to a big executive, I think they probably just, it's a third party, so they went with somebody that they thought like, oh, this is a good marketer, these are cool people, and those people just decided to just make something up or use AI
really
or do
crazy.
whatever.
Wow, Megalopolis is a fucking shit show.
It's crazy because we have
should
not
do this with that J-Lo movie.
We have not seen this movie yet, and all we know is that the man spent all his money to do it. He was harassing people on the set. He screened it for every big wig in Hollywood, and they all golf clapped and walked out without buying it.
So here's my question: has this movie been reviewed yet?
I think so. Yeah, because I think it played in a festival.
Okay, because I was gonna say it sounds like they're.
I don't think the big ones. I don't think like New York Times has reviewed it or anything.
But so then it's like they're anticipating that it's gonna get bad reviews.
Oh no, there are already a lot of people. I mean, the news that they showed it to every studio head and they all said we pass. Yeah. Doesn't bode well for it.
It's like 8 hours.
And remember that we talked about this on the show. Yeah. There was an anonymous quote that said like it was a real mess or something like that. Yeah.
Not a beautiful mess.
Yeah.
Boy. God, what a shit show.
Crazy, right?
This is just gonna be the downfall of Francis Ford Coppola.
I don't think so because, well, first of all, he made Jack, and also. He spent a lot of his money, but he still has money.
But this is also now...
he's in his 80s. I don't think he gives a fuck. Like,
no, I know, but...
I don't think it's going to take away The Godfather.
No, but it's like his creative... Like, I think this is his last thing.
Oh, I think he even knew it was his last thing. He's a billion years old.
And he's also... Now this is all tied up with, like, sexual assault.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, boy.
It's definitely it.
I'm fine with him being canceled, but they better not come for Sophia.
I don't see why. I mean, unless Sophia was there also... trying to kiss extras.
Well, she might just be like, I love my father. And then people will be like, how dare you support a sexual abuse?
You're a monster and you love a monster.
But no, seriously, there are people who will do that.
Of course.
So
you love your father? Love him.
That makes me think of remember Broad City? How am I today?
Oh,
so good. Yeah.
Let's talk about trailers.
Yeah, let's.
So
another wild slew. Not as wild as last time.
I like this roundup. Guess what was on this list before I had to amend it?
Megalopolis.
The Megalopolis trailer with fake bullshit. Let's talk about Saturday Night.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
This movie is written by Jason Reitman and Gil Kinnan, who did the last 2 Ghostbusters, and it's directed by Jason Reitman. And it is the trailer shows you what it is. It's about
the first.
It seems like it's one of those. It's gonna be one of those like weird biopics that's in real time.
Yeah.
And it seems like this is. It even says the date. So this is the first Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
and you see like studio execs being like, "This is
which
terrible."
it really is. At least in the beginning, it was called Saturday Night
Yes.
Live.
Yeah.
So that's
Saturday
why.
night, comma,
That's why.
live.
Yeah. So that's why he's like, I run Saturday night, and the guy's like, oh, the whole night.
And he's like, yeah, the whole
Yeah.
night.
So yeah, it wasn't always like SNL.
Yeah.
It was Saturday. That's why in the beginning they say it's Saturday night.
What do you think? First of all, they got the look right.
Yeah, it
look is
it
really
looks
good.
great. It's got a lot to me of it looks Sorkin-esque.
Yes.
It reminds me a lot of that loose.
There's gonna be a lot of walking and talking.
Oh, for
a
sure.
lot of walking and talking.
Yeah, and it reminds me specifically a lot of the Lucy movie with Nicole
Yes.
Kidman, which was all
Put on a
like
show, yeah.
one night.
Yeah.
When they were filming one episode.
Yeah.
I think it looks really good. I'm wondering. I have that book. I read that book a few years ago, like that long
Oral
book,
History?
the oral history. I wonder if it takes from that. I'm sure it does.
Probably. It seems to have a lot of information.
Yeah, the one of his most famous quotes is "You don't go on because you're ready. You go on because it's 11:30." Like
Right.
that's a
Right.
known Lorne Michaels quote.
Right.
I just hope it's not too up its own ass.
Yes.
Because, like,
it
Saturday
feels
Night
like
Live
it easily
is-
could be.
I think the beauty of Saturday Night Live has always been that it's imperfect.
Yeah.
So I hope that it's not like they tried to stop us, but we're fucking brilliant and we did it.
Yeah. It's.
And it's
I do
interesting.
wonder what like at the end of the film, what is the overall point going to have been? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's interesting to think about the first. I know that, like, from what I've heard, like if you go back and watch those early ones, like it's nearly unwatchable now.
Right.
But it was, as they say in the trailer, like it was like a counterculture youth powered show. It's really interesting to think of it that way. That was its beginnings. Now that it's such an institution.
Right.
So it's kind of it looks like an interesting concept.
Yeah, I forget how many years ago, probably 10 or more, I watched like the first 5 episodes because I remember they came out with the box sets of like the first year or whatever, and it was sort of unwatchable.
There's a lot of experimental shit in it, right?
Right. Yeah, like some of it's very like almost like Monty Python-esque, like not even going for punchlines.
Yeah.
I'd like to watch it again because I understand the context more now. At that time, I was just looking for it to be funny, and I was like, this isn't making me laugh.
Yeah.
But now I would be thinking, imagine what did a network look like at that time? And how would you feel turning it on and seeing this?
Yeah, like
You'd be like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
On NBC the same time that they play Johnny Carson every other night.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like in context, it makes it that much richer to be like, oh, this is so weird that they put this on. I don't know if maybe it's just the trailer. The trailer could be cut in a way that's like different tonally than the film, but I don't know if I totally agree with this idea that like, dude, like they're setting you up to fail. Because it's very much like Lorne Michaels, the fucking hero. He's a torture genius.
Lorne Michaels seems to be the real protagonist.
Yeah,
of the film.
yeah.
And the person who's saying that to him, I think, is supposed to be what's his name, Dick Ebersol.
Yeah, no.
Who was the other producer who then took over when Michael?
Oh yeah.
Dick Ebersol.
Ebersol, yeah. Is that supposed to be him?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that's even a real plot point, but I don't buy that they would give him that much money and put him on that slot just to see him fail.
No, I don't know either. Who knows really what
they were thinking?
Right. But I'm sure there really was insane pressure, and there were people telling them you can't do it.
I hope it's also like I hope they show the drugs and all of it. I want it to be raw.
I think so.
I hope it is. I don't want it to be glossy.
Yeah. Well, yeah. What do you think of some of the casting?
I think it looks like it's well cast. I like that the actors sort of have the essence of the people, but they're not exact lookalikes.
I agree.
Like the Chevy Chase is really doing such a good Chevy Chase, but he's not.
He doesn't look like him.
He doesn't look like him, and he's not just like doing a Chevy Chase impression. He's just like the douchebag.
He's I'm the star here, and I'm more important than everyone else, and I have this insane confidence.
Yeah.
Like in the trailer, they show him being interviewed, and like, what do you think of this ensemble? He's like, oh, it's an ensemble?
Yeah. And then at the end, oh, sorry, I tripped over my penis.
Yeah. Then you've got like this. It's just got an interesting cast. You've got
They won't.
Winston from New Girl.
Yeah.
What's his name? Garrett Morris.
Yeah. There's Gilda, and it's like, oh, everybody loves Gilda. They're not gonna show anything negative about Gilda,
right? But they've got Belushi, so they'll show Belushi being crazy, and Jim Henson, which people forget, was involved. And that story that he tells in the trailer, it's funny because it's him by the voice he's doing. He's like, somebody took a big bird and hung it outside.
What's funny
is something really happened.
Yeah, I've read that. You and Janine talked about like the trailer for the Jim Henson documentary, and you were like, I want to see like the others, like I want to see him as a man, not just like a hero.
Yeah.
And I kind of respected that. Like this movie looks like it shows that like he's a fucking weirdo,
and he's the nerd that they're all gonna make fun of.
He's like the puppet boy
they
all made fun of.
You.
Yeah.
I didn't think about it at the time. The only thing he was known for was Sesame Street,
right?
Which is why they hung a big bird outside his room.
I like that it's like these like young, probably drug-fueled comedians that are just like, fuck it, we're on TV.
In the trailer, the guy who comes off the stage with a beard and he's like, fuck you, I definitely fuck you. That's supposed to be George Carlin.
Yeah.
Who was the first host.
Yeah.
Does it look super reverent? Yes. But I don't know.
I hope there are
I have hard feelings. I have mixed bag of feelings about SNL in general.
So do I. I think it's one of those things it's too big. It is such an institution. It's like, I don't think you can like or dislike SNL. I think it really goes by era.
Right.
I think we're in a weak era.
There's usually one great sketch or good sketch at least in every episode.
Yeah.
And then a lot of shit.
Yeah.
And then they've always been like, yeah, but it's live and we have a week to do it. And my feelings have always been like, well, then call it off. Like, why?
Because it's just, I mean,
like, it just was like, they've always backed up on when it sucks, it's because it's live. It's like, well, no, who told you to make it live? Mm-hmm. Like, no, like,
yeah.
I don't know. I have a hard time with it. I have a hard time with its own reverence. I have a hard time with,
especially now that we're in this post Key and Peele and,
just
I
incredible sketch comedy.
Yeah, like that's what it's called. I think you should leave, right? Like, we have sketch shows that are not live, that are really high quality. Yeah. So it's like, so then why are you? But that's the thing, and the celebrity of it, and
what they're good
they want to write it week to week because they want to capture that week's news and
right,
whatever.
The politics and stuff, and the politics and the weekend update are the two things that are like kind of like the best thing.
Yeah. They're I think now especially the weekend update's the strongest part of the show.
Do you think there'll be like really shitty Back to the Future-esque like nods, like there's a tour and there's a little girl and it's Tina Fey and she's like, one day I'm gonna be here.
I truly hope not. I was actually just gonna say
I can see that shit. I can also see jokes like, listen, Lauren, you think this show's gonna be on in 45 years? Get real.
Yeah. I hope
There's
not.
Gotta be shit like that.
Well, that's the thing. I hope it's not that reverent. I don't know. I can't tell. I also really hope that there's not cameos by real SNL people.
It doesn't look like there are.
I hope, that would be very weird.
Is your dog okay?
Hold on. No, she's an animal in the backyard.
Oh.
My dog's ready to fight.
We just heard
a raccoon.
Anthony's dog flip out. All right, let's move on to the next trailer.
I knew she was going to do this.
I thought we were going to be murdered. I thought there was a trick.
She does this
would be the
sometimes.
second fully in a row where somebody intruded.
Yeah, except this time it's a cat or a raccoon.
Yeah.
She gets very defensive over her deck.
Good for her.
She doesn't like other animals on her deck.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, this is her house and she has to protect it, in the words of Kevin McAllister.
Gary, I don't at all want to be disrespectful to a real person that was exploited his whole life and lived a hard life.
Yeah.
But part of me feels like even now, this documentary is sort of
exploitative. Yeah, I agree.
I mean, like, even the documentary seems
felt
to be like,
watching
isn't it weird? Like, it is.
I knew it was gonna, like, at first I was like, oh, maybe this will just be about a complicated person's life. But then, of course, it had to be like, I think the wife murdered him. And it's like, oh, here we go. Like, now everything's got to have an element of true crime in it.
Yes. And then, and you see the ex-wife, she's like, oh, I'm the killer, right? Why? Because I'm the evil ex-wife. And it's like, okay, this is going to be trashy as fuck.
Yeah. Like the Jared from Subway doc that I watched every minute.
I haven't seen that.
It's so low budget and trashy.
I want to see the Louis C.K. doc.
Ooh, I didn't know that existed.
Yeah, it looks good too.
Are there like high profile comedians in it?
There are some, but then there's also, and they tell you this, a lot of the original accusers have stopped talking about it and refused to be in the movie because he won. He silenced them. He won. He came back. He's won a Grammy after the scandal, and
so they're just totally disheartened.
They just feel like, what's the point of doing this?
Yikes!
Terrifying.
Nobody gets canceled. The only person who ever got canceled was Kathy Griffin.
That's fucking right. Yeah, I mean, I am interested. When I was a kid, I watched a lot of Different Strokes. And I loved it. And he was the funniest kid actor ever. Although it is weird.
So I did some Googling because I needed to know. I've always confused him with Webster.
Sure, that's...
in that I didn't know which one of them had that sort of like...
disability
this like man in the child of a body thing. I feel like maybe they actually both did.
I don't know.
In a weird coincidence.
Did you look that up?
I didn't, because I got caught, like, I fell down a rabbit hole of Gary when I was looking him up. But what I remember from stuff that I'd watched about, like, the E! True Hollywood Story of Different Strokes.
Emmanuel Lewis. Yes, Emmanuel Lewis
also had it, right?
Yeah.
Well, his is... Gary's stunted growth was due to like intense, like severe kidney issues.
Yeah, he must have done a dialysis every day or something.
Yeah, right? In the trailer they say he didn't have kidneys after 1985.
Crazy.
Am I crazy? Or somebody said that?
Yes, he didn't have a single kidney.
Yeah. I remember watching like the E! True Hollywood Story about the Different Strokes kids because they all had troubled lives. And I remember like that show started when Gary Coleman was like 10 and it went till he was like 18.
See, that's what's creepy.
But like they were still writing like scenes where he would sit on his father's lap when he was like 17.
Yes, Emmanuel Lewis also had it.
Okay.
All right, and I don't know if it's the same reason, but like he also like
never
kind of So there's a lot here, right, to unpack, like because they're both African American, they're both child stars, and they were both in
sitcoms with they were parts of white families, right?
Right, and they're both like perpetually can be a child actor.
The thing that makes it extra creepy is like, so then like in universe, is time frozen? Because it's like from what I'm not like up on it, but from what I understand, like if you watch Different Strokes, all 8 seasons, he's treated like he's a little child.
I guess time is frozen,
which is really weird and must have been really hard for him.
To be a 17-year-old kid and you're like playing like a baby, that's gotta be crazy.
Yeah,
and also the trailer shows that like every other kid, his parents took all his money.
Yep, and he was super depressed and it turned to drugs. And
well, the trailer shows what's his name, the actor who played Willis, and he's the last man standing. I think he's the only one alive on that show.
And wasn't he had like trouble? He had a lot of issues.
They all had
drugs and with the law and
Dana
Plato committed suicide or did she OD? She died young. I know that
she did die young. I remember her True Hollywood Story.
What child star didn't have a horrible? I mean, it's just children just shouldn't be working. Hey, that's a crazy idea, huh? Children shouldn't have jobs.
Yeah.
I mean, especially after that Nickelodeon documentary. I was just thinking about that, there's not a child star alive who doesn't have trauma.
She died from an overdose at 34.
Yeah, she was really young.
Yeah. No.
Especially back then, like they just treated them like horrible.
But what do we do? Have CGI children?
No.
Do we not do we not allow writing about
really
children?
What it would have to be, I think the most humane way to do it would be to just have the children to lengthen the production time so that the kids can work only a couple of hours.
Yes, you have there's got and there has to be better protection.
Yeah.
Obviously, like from the Nickelodeon documentary, you can see that like people get in between the parent and the kid.
Yeah.
Not just creepers, but also like the production.
Yes.
Because they'll be like, oh, this is a difficult mother.
Right. And they're the commodity. They're the product that's being sold.
Right.
And then like also I think people don't consider the fact that especially when you're on like a TV show and you're a child, like you are not in school. So you're missing out on all that socialization.
You're right.
Because you're just around all the adults all the time.
Right.
And you have like a tutor who teaches you a couple hours a day,
right,
in your trailer. Like it's a very. I see why so many child stars grow up and have so many problems.
Yeah.
It makes sense when you consider it.
Of course, it makes sense. Think about when you're a kid. Like any kind of pressure, I hated. Can you imagine having like real pressure on you as a child?
Like you have a job.
Have a job?
You're supporting your family.
You have a job.
Yeah, you have a whole job, and you make more than your parents. You make more than everybody else.
Right, and that's where it gets tricky. And I'm not defending these people, but it gets tricky because often the parents have to become the full-time managers, so they have to quit their jobs. So then they begin to think like, this is my money anyway. I gave up my whole career to,
And it's like, how do you pay yourself? Do you pay yourself a salary off your kid's salary? Right. How does that work?
Yeah. It will lead to a slippery slope of bad shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. The trailer looked interesting. I'm not going to watch this.
Yeah. I feel like it's just too much of a bummer.
It seemed like it was trying to have it every which way. You had the ex-wife being like, did I murder him? I don't know. And then you have,
Then you have like
an old like executive be like, he's the greatest child star. He made us laugh. And it's like, all right, is this what kind of doc do you want to be? Because you're trying to be them all. You can't be like wholesome, let's celebrate him, while at the same time doing all this other shit.
Right. Yeah.
Pick a lane.
I felt icky after watching it.
Yeah. Well, the world don't move. Could we just talk about how much of a banger that song is, though? To the beat of just one drum. That's what do you call it? Norman Lear jam.
Is it?
Yeah. But I'd call it like third tier Lear.
Yeah.
Like if all the family's like top tier, like we actually have shit to say.
Yeah.
Then like by the time you get to like Facts of Life,
they all kind of have. Is he Facts of Life too?
Facts of Life is a spinoff of Different
yeah,
Strokes.
That's right.
Because
Mrs. Garrett.
The maid becomes the headmaster. Of
the Huh. His masterpiece is Maud.
Wow. That's just some bull. I just have this.
I see that based on like just memories of Nick at Night. I just always remember watching Maud and being like, I like this so much
Maud
better.
had an abortion in an episode.
Yeah, Maud was always a fucking. I'm surprised it hasn't had a renaissance.
Yeah,
like where people like watching it.
Yeah,
and being like, oh, this was cool. This was really groundbreaking.
My favorite episode of All in the Family is the Maud episode, where she's introduced.
So crazy that, like in hindsight, that people tend to think of progress as moving one way, but when even in television, like the 70s had so much groundbreaking, like kind of woke progressive shit, right. And then the 80s under the Reagan era, everything went back to squeaky clean, like right. It was like that throwback to the 50s.
And look, Maud had an abortion, and now we have a ban on. We've overturned Roe vs. Wade, so I guess nothing ever is. It's all right. Yeah. It's all right, Mike.
But
we're not going back.
Hey,
we're not going back.
We're not going back. We are not going back. But the thing that is heartening about that is that I think that there are dips and things sometimes regress, but I do think that ultimately things always do end up moving forward.
Yeah. Let's talk about the trailer to Y2K.
Okay, so this got me in the first half. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
As the kids say. Because I really got me. Because I really was like, oh, this is like a can't hardly wait kind of like throwback. This is just like cashing in on nostalgia. What is this shit? And then the lights go out and I was like, oh, this is gonna be like a reimagining.
And it's like a horror comedy.
And then it's like, oh, it's kind of like I walked away from it feeling like it was like I Can't Hardly Wait meets This Is How the World Ends or whatever that movie was.
And the Stephen King directed Maximum Overdrive.
Yeah.
Because you see because they become like robots, like these boys like that a Tamagotchi just killed that girl.
Yeah.
And then at the end you see like a guy with a TV head following him.
It's got a lot of shades of This Is the End, which was also like the same people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, and then I was like, oh, this is super funny.
It's really great.
It looks really cool. I love, and then I saw that Kyle Mooney is the creative force behind it. I was like, oh, this makes total sense.
He co-wrote it and directed it. Yeah, I mean, the
VHS tape of Varsity Blues, like shooting out of the VCR to kill someone. I feel like in the actual movie, the person probably gets like decapitated by it or something. Is so fucking
it looks
funny.
like it's gonna be crazy bloody and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, Kyle Mooney has a a really impressive VHS collection. Like he collects VHSs and has like stores and stores of them. I mean, look at the stuff he's done before, like episodes of this show, PCMC, Saturday Morning All-Star Hits, which is like crazy wild.
Yeah.
Brigsby Bear, which is like about him.
Yeah.
He's a kid who's like kidnapped and locked up, and they make a show for him.
He's just
this
the
is
weirdest.
probably his most mainstream idea, and it's still pretty fucking crazy. It looks awesome. It looks fun.
He's just like the weirdest guy ever.
And it came out of nowhere because I was like, I did not hear about it, and it's got Snow White in it.
Yeah, Rachel Ziegler.
Yeah, who we all hate, I guess. So I was like, oh, good for her. Like I like her. I liked her in that Hunger Games movie.
Yeah, it looks really good.
It looks really fun. You
didn't include it maybe because you talked about it with somebody else, but did you talk about the Snow White trailer?
No, no.
Nothing there?
I guess there's something there, but I don't know.
Yeah, whatever. This is an A24 joint.
Yes, and it said A24. You saw the original AOL login screen.
Yeah. And it said A24.
And then, back in the day when you log into AOL, there was 3 little boxes, and one would be like your computer, and then a running man.
Well,
and then the Earth.
That was the second iteration.
Oh, fuck.
Do you remember the original?
No.
The original was the Earth, and then it was a key with lightning. Remember?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, they made that A24.
Yeah.
And throughout this whole trailer, you hear, we get knocked down.
Yeah, Chumbawamba. Yeah. So much fun. A24 is such an interesting, like, it's a film, it's a brand.
Yes.
It's an aesthetic. It's a genre. Like, they're
in a way.
But like that, this is like the way the kids talk about it.
Yeah, so you're right.
Like in the same way that you'll hear kids say like, oh, I watch Netflix all night. They'll be like, oh, I love A24 movies. And they'll wear A24 shirts.
Right,
it's so weird.
I think it's cool. It actually harkens back to early Hollywood.
It's like the studio system.
Yeah, because like,
I love MGM musicals.
Right,
yeah.
Or I love Warner Brothers gangster movies.
Yeah.
Or I love Universal horror movies. Like house styles, which you don't have anymore.
Yeah.
Like it kind of has a house style.
I think that
although I would style being a very broad term here, because I think from one to another, a lot of these movies are completely different. I don't think there's a uniformity.
Yeah.
Other than a quality.
Yeah.
Uniformity
and kind of an aesthetic. There's an aesthetic through line.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. I mean, yeah. Okay. Sure.
This other thought. This isn't this is directed. This is more like in general, but it's connected to what we're talking about. The language of trailers is really interesting because the fact that like the trailer tricks you.
Yeah.
And the tell is when it pops up like from the studio that brought you Hereditary.
Yes.
And then it's like, it's interesting that then it's like, oh shit, this is gonna be weird and like violent.
Yes.
By like nodding to another movie within that trailer, it's kind of weird.
And it's also like this has clearly been a comedy, and now we're saying from horror
from the yeah. It's
you're like, oh wait, this is gonna be a funny horror movie.
A switch, yeah.
Have you seen the poster?
Mm-mm.
It's made to look like an 80s slasher poster.
Oh, that's really
It's got like that chopping mall kind of aesthetic.
Yeah.
It's oil painted, and it looks like a plug, a normal plug, but the 3 prongs are sharp and have blood coming down. Totally.
It's funny because like having lived through Y2K.
Yeah.
It's not at all what people were worried about.
Right, we
weren't worried that the VCR was going to come to life and kill us.
Yeah, we were worried that like systems would fail.
Oh, what about like?
And also,
you hear the voice of Bill Clinton.
Yeah,
that
what
was
about
crazy.
You see 2 planes fly into
each other. Yeah,
hilarious. Also, if you listen to the "You're Wrong About" episode, it was a problem, and we fixed it, and we should be proud of the fact that we prevented it. It wasn't a nothing burger. Right. It wasn't a joke. It could have done really bad things, but we stopped it.
I listened to that episode was really interesting, enlightening, and there was also a whole podcast from the guy who did the Richard Simmons podcast about Y2K, and it was more long form. It was like over multiple episodes.
Oh, interesting.
And he also like did his research and was like, yeah, it wasn't a joke. Like we avoided disaster.
Yeah. Isn't that so sad?
And like it could have, if it was never caught, it would have shut down the world.
Isn't it sad that when we do something amazing, we
get no credit?
Yeah, we don't give ourselves credit. Or like the vaccine. How long was polio around before the polio vaccine? Once COVID really hit, people were working around the clock to find a vaccine, and they produced it in a year and a half?
Operation Warp Speed was, to me, the only success that came out of the Trump administration, and it was a big success.
And it wasn't his doing.
It wasn't, but he could have. If he
was telling you to fucking inject
he's
bleach.
crazy. But if he were a normal president, just like an average guy, history would have remembered him as like, FDR, the New Deal,
right?
Trump, Operation Warp Speed,
right.
Like that would have been his legacy.
Right.
He ruined it because he's crazy,
right? And also because his supporters are anti-vax, so like he wouldn't take credit for it.
But yeah, it was a huge success.
Yeah,
and we take it for granted. Like we could still be living, like COVID is still around, but like we could still be living at like the height of COVID right now if it weren't for the vaccine.
And I'm boosted.
Hot take.
There's a new booster coming out.
The vaccine is effective.
I love when a new booster drops. I'm like, oh shit, they're dropping a new one. My armpit's gonna hurt all day tomorrow.
And it's also so funny how like I remember having conversations like, I bet one day it's just going to be like the COVID and flu vaccine. And like literally a year later, it's like, yeah, that's exactly what it is.
It is.
It's like, it's not, that's just reality now. It is. Get your COVID booster and your flu vaccine.
It's never going to go away, but it's just a part of life like fucking the flu is.
Yeah.
All right. Let's take a break. We'll come back with the chill session. All right, let's do this. Did you see today Hot Ones dropped an episode with Donald Duck as the guest?
No.
It's only 7 minutes because animation costs a lot. But
is he eating real wings?
I believe so. I only watched a minute of it. It looks very cute.
That's adorable.
Yeah, there's a thumbnail.
Oh.
Come on. The enormity of this show is really amazing to me.
Yeah. Conan's is the best.
Conan's is incredible. He has the fake doctor. It really had the vibe of old school Conan.
Old school Conan. Everybody just like rubs it all over his face.
Yeah. Oh, it's disgusting.
And like starts shoving the bones in his pockets.
Did you see the Ariana Grande episode?
No.
It's incredible because she's fine throughout the entire thing.
That's so crazy.
She's like, "Oh, this is so nice. That's really tasty." Meanwhile, like it's brought other people to their fucking knees. She's like, "Oh, like it's crazy the people that it destroys and the people that are just like, oh, it's fine."
Yeah. Wow.
You know, we're Jen's very excited for Wicked, and I'm excited too.
So excited for Wicked.
I am excited about Ariana Grande's hand tattoos. She has crazy tattoos all over her arms and hands, which I think is so cool. I love arm and hand tattoos. She has an Eevee, a Pokemon on her arm.
I know she has tattoos, but
look at her hands. She's got tattoos all over.
That's cool. I'm sure they're covered for the movie.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Love it.
Yeah, no,
love
Wicked
tattoos.
looks so good, and I love that she and Cynthia Erivo are just like leaning into it so hard.
How so?
Like they're always, I feel like, together. And always Cynthia's wearing green and she's wearing pink and they're like posing together. Like, did you see that picture of them from the Olympics?
No.
Oh, let me pull this up. They seem like they're like best friends. They both love it. They're both like leaning into it and giving the fans what they want.
Nice.
And I got to show you this picture.
Oh, wow. That's really nice. I love the hat.
Yeah. But it's like, they're just like,
they're really
leaning. She's always wearing green and she's always wearing pink. Yeah. It's just so fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
They seem like they're having a ball.
It comes out Christmas, right?
November.
Oh, November. Okay.
It's actually coming out earlier. It got bumped up.
That's very good. Well,
yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah, me too. Queens.
Did you see the trailer for the new season of Only Murders in the Building?
Yeah, I did. Weirdly, I caught it and I was like, "Oh, I don't even remember this being announced."
I remember being announced, but it just seemed like out of nowhere.
Seems like it came out of nowhere. It's starting in like a week.
And I didn't know the concept of like they're making a movie in it.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
And Eugene Levy plays himself, who's supposed to be doing Charles.
It's very Scream 3.
Yes, it is very
is it Eva Longoria as
I forget.
Selena Gomez, which seems crazy because she's so much older than Selena Gomez.
And then Zach Galifianakis
is
Oliver.
Oliver. Yeah, how did it? The last season ended with spoiler alert in 3, 2, 1. Jane Lynch's character being killed, Zaz, right?
Yeah.
So she was his stunt double.
Yeah. And you see, this trailer has what's her face is back too,
Meryl Streep.
and
Melissa McCarthy's in this season.
Yeah.
It looks fun,
but it's also part of me is like, it's like blackjack. It's like, all right, you're gonna break at some point.
Yeah,
Like, how many
yeah.
times are you gonna say hit? Like, is this gonna be the one that's the whole stinker? Like,
Yeah.
I didn't like the last season as much as the first 2 seasons, especially because they went out of their way to keep the 3 of them apart from each other.
Yeah.
Which I think is the whole fun of the show is the 3 of them
I think
together.
every season's gotten a little bit worse than the one that came before.
I don't know. I kind of watched 1 and 2 together, so I don't know.
Yeah.
3 for me, because 3 took it out. 3 made the world bigger,
Right.
and I feel like it's getting bigger more.
Oh yeah, it's definitely getting bigger more. It's not in the building.
No, yeah.
Although wasn't it like, was 3 in the building? I feel like there was something that tied it to the building.
Well, when he first dies, Paul Rudd's character, it's in the elevator,
Oh,
but he ended
yeah.
up not really dying at that point.
Yeah.
Oh, no. He really did die then. He died on stage, which is what happened at the
Yes.
end of season 2.
Right.
But then he came back and was like, I'm not dead. And then he died,
in
the building.
Yeah.
It's amazing the kind of talent that this show,
Yeah.
calls upon. It's, it looks good.
It looks fun. It looks like a lot of fun.
So what have you been chilling with?
I've been doing a lot of reading. I got out of my reading slump.
Good for you.
You were in a pretty big reading slump.
I forced myself out of it.
Yeah.
Like a
phoenix from
from the ashes of bad books that I was trying to finish. I was like, fuck these books. I'm starting fresh.
I've read a few good books this summer. Right now I'm reading this book, Bright Young Women by Jessica Knoll.
What's it about?
She is the author of Luckiest Girl Alive, which was just made into a movie, or recently made into a movie with Mila Kunis. It's pretty cool so far. I'm like 50 pages into it.
The cover looks nice.
Yeah, it's got a cool cover. It's very well reviewed. And I really like it so far. It is a fictionalized retelling of one of Ted Bundy's murders from the victim's point of view. So in 1978, Ted Bundy, of his string of murders and rapes, one of them was in a sorority house.
Okay.
So this is in a sorority house in 1978, and the killer is described as being somewhat handsome and all that, but it's not Ted Bundy. It's fictionalized, but based on that. But what's cool about it is that it is, it's not about him. It's about the survivors. And it's them telling their stories, it's from their perspective, and then it catches up to them in present day too. Again, I'm only 50 pages in, but it started in the present and then went back to 1978. So I'm at the tail end of the incident that caused all the trauma. But it's cool. It's got an interesting tone because it's based on a real tragedy. So it's got weight.
Sure.
But it's also got at least at the beginning, I feel like it's got a little bit of a final girl support group kind of vibe.
Oh, interesting.
Where it's a little bit in the way that it's empowering the women who survived.
Yes.
These serial killer men.
Interesting.
And there's definitely got a feminist bent, which is really cool. The one of the main characters whose perspective I'm reading right now, just little things she's talking about the night of the murder, she fell asleep reading her history textbook, and she said I woke up and there was an imprint of information about the Equal Rights Amendment on my head, and I went to go wash my face, and then I heard something, and then so it's definitely
Crazy.
it's leading up to a feminist message for sure.
Okay.
Right, because it's called Bright Young Women, so it's about these women whose lives were altered by one horrible man.
Yeah. Wow.
Who, as she mentions many times, she's like, I hate to admit that he was good looking because that's what everybody always says about him, is that he was so handsome.
Yeah.
Which is Ted Bundy's thing.
Right. I know that's what they say.
He was okay looking.
Well, is it because you imagine a serial killer is like a monster
Yes.
and he looks like a normal guy?
I think that's what it is.
Because he's not hot.
No, he's not hot, but I think it's like...
he just looks like a normal fellow, and that's
But
what's
you'd
scary.
see him and be like, oh, he's an okay looking guy.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh my God, he did horrible things to women.
Right.
But everybody always says that he's a good looking guy. And like, think about if you had survived. Yeah. And then 40 years later, people are like, oh man. And then especially like... with the real Ted Bundy, like that movie came out and people were like, oh, he's so hot. He's being played by whatever.
Oh, yeah. That was a weird movie.
Yeah. So it's good. I also read this book recently that just came out. You ever like wandering through Barnes & Noble or whatever and you pick up a book just on a whim?
Yeah.
And then it turns out that it's like really new. So that's
and you
this
like
book.
it.
Yeah. It was called The Most by Jessica Anthony. It was a really compelling read. And it only just came out like a month ago. And I feel like it's going to get a lot of traction. Like I feel like people are going to be talking about it in a little while. It's about like it's full of like 1950s marriage ennui. So it's one of those. But it was really good. It's got it reminded me a little bit of like Virginia Woolf because it takes place over the course of 8 hours and it keeps switching between the stream of consciousness of the wife and the husband and just like their unhappy marriage. Really tight, only like 120 pages, which is like my favorite kind of book, is a short book.
Sure, yeah.
And I really enjoyed that. So I've just been reading a lot, which, it's always amazing to me how quickly I forget that reading is so meditative.
Yes,
and
of course.
that when you're reading at least for me, like I feel like when I'm reading more, I feel happier.
Yes, agreed.
Because I'm clearing my head.
Right. And you're focusing on something. It's
Yeah.
like a mantra.
Yeah.
Like you're focusing the loud talkative part of your brain with these other words, and it gives you sort of space to breathe.
Especially when it's narrative, like when it's a novel.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I've been chilling with.
I just read what did I read? I read a little like not saucy,
like little ditty.
I read a YA like horror book called Dead Girls Talking.
Okay.
I knew that when I was like, I got to get out of this slump, I knew I had to stop reading the book I was reading.
What book were you reading?
It was a Star Wars book. It wasn't bad, but it just wasn't. I was not wanting to pick it up.
It was not gripping you. Yeah.
Right. And sometimes that's it. Sometimes that's what keeps you in a slump.
Yeah.
Not wanting to give up on a book.
Yeah, because it's like sometimes you like a book just enough to not want to stop reading it.
But you're like, but if you're not going to pick it up and you'd rather look at your phone,
right,
or look at TV, then you're in a slump, my friend.
Yeah, it's amazing how like some books like you'll read in a day and then another book will take you like 3 months.
Yeah.
Dead Girls Talking.
Yeah, and then I read graphic novel called House of L by Claudia Gray, which is about Krypton. And then I read some poetry, and what else am I reading? I'm reading the Book of Bill, which is about Bill Cipher, the villain from Gravity Falls. It's fun. It's a fun comedy kind of weird book.
Yeah.
I did buy Rainbow Rowell's new book, which I have not read yet. It is an adult novel, her first in a while.
She hasn't written anything in a while, right?
No, she has. She wrote 3 of those like Harry Potter ones.
Why?
Which were okay. The first one was okay enough, but I didn't. But her last book was a book of short stories that I actually really liked.
Okay.
Because some of them are like fairy tales and stuff. It was really good. I felt like, this is good Rainbow Rowell. And this new book I'm excited about. I haven't gotten to it yet. And so yeah. But I also, I think another thing that got me out of the slump is accepting that I am just a Kindle guy now. It's so light. You hold it up to your face, the lights can be off.
Yeah.
You're not.
I feel
fussed.
that way.
Like I have like a light that I clip on to real books, but it just makes it even heavier. It's like, what are you doing? Like
you're always doing a dance with it, and you're always fucking with it.
I know, and it's too much.
I bought this book in anticipation of Halloween. I think I'm going to read this one next. It's called Clown in a Cornfield.
Ooh! Oh, let me see.
It looks like a lot of fun. It looks like it's a Grady Hendrix type.
Well, it looks like those paperbacks from Hellbook.
Yeah.
Because a lot of those have been re-released.
Yes, branded paperbacks. I've seen in paperbacks.
It's got the Stephen King font.
Yeah, Yeah.
Clown in the Cornfield.
It looks fun.
And you got Clive Barker.
His stamp of approval.
Yeah. And
I
Arthur,
think,
who knows how to make us afraid, Clive Barker.
I think it takes place in... I bet it takes place in the 80s. I mean, I'm nearly positive
Doesn't
it does.
everything. You have to put... You've got to make your thing take place without cell phones.
Yeah.
Because
Or
it
maybe
ruins...
Actually, maybe it doesn't. Maybe it just looks like it takes place in the 80s.
That's possible.
But it looks fun. It's, there's a clown in a cornfield and he's killing people.
Sure.
Oh, boy. There's a sequel, too. Okay, that's fun. I didn't even realize that.
When I see a book and I'm interested, and then it says, like, you see the parentheses 1 of 6.
I'm like, no, I'm out.
No, I'm out.
I am so not a series person.
Nope.
And I look down on people who are. No, I'm kidding.
No, I don't look down on people who are.
Yeah,
but
no, I'm
can't.
just not. I'm like,
I don't have that kind of commitment in my soul.
I don't think I've ever finished a series of books. I've never even read the 7th Harry Potter.
Wow.
I only read the first 6.
Wow, you heard it here, folks.
Yeah. And you know what? Now I'm fucking proud of it.
Yeah.
Um,
Wait, let me tell you about Clive Barker. You know what happened to Clive Barker?
What?
Clive Barker, the writer of short horror fiction and director of horror films, most famously Hellraiser.
Yes. Didn't he write the short story?
Yes, Hellbound Heart.
Yeah.
He, in 2010, 2015, something like that, he went to the dentist, as we all do.
Oh, God.
And he was getting a cleaning, just a simple cleaning like we all do. But somehow from the cleaning, he got toxic shock syndrome and went into a coma for months.
God.
And then finally came out of it and had to get his life back again. Had to build his muscles back up, had to deal with all the I heard him on a podcast talking about it, and it's harrowing. And from just a normal teeth cleaning.
That's the scariest shit I've ever heard.
And it happened to a rich person.
What hope is there for the rest of us?
I know.
A rich white person?
Can you imagine such a banal thing? A fucking teeth cleaning gives a toxic shock? I've only ever heard of that with people who leave tampons in. Toxic shock syndrome. Yeah. I didn't know you could get it from a fucking cleaning.
I don't know. Not toxic shock syndrome, but my mother-in-law ended up in the hospital once after a routine cleaning because of
what?
Something that they did. I think they put the anesthesia or whatever that's called, the Novocaine, in the wrong spot or something, and it she was presenting as if she had a stroke.
Really?
Where the whole side of her face was drooping.
They hit too big a nerve.
Yeah, and then it just turned out that it was not. It was
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, things can happen in the dentist chair.
Yeah.
Dentist fucking freaked me out.
Yeah. I went recently.
My dentist called me fat.
Yeah.
That's the most traumatic thing that's ever happened to me. Have I talked about this on the pod?
No, you've talked about it in real life, but talk about it on the pod.
So we all know that as fat people, when you go to the doctor, their go-to line always is you need to lose weight.
Yeah, no matter what.
No matter what.
They're oh, you're probably better.
Yeah, well, you're fat. This was the dentist, and he was cleaning my teeth, and I happen to think that I have pretty good dental hygiene, but he was he was kind of one of those guys that was I'm a straight shooter. I talk whatever. I'm not like a regular dentist. I'm a cool dentist.
Yeah.
And he was like,
I don't need a bedside
manner. Yeah. He was like, fuck, man, you got all the shit on your teeth. Talking about plaque, and I was like, "Oh, well, that's embarrassing."
I would have been like, "Shit,
yeah.
You mean feces?
Yeah.
I have shit."
He was like,
"Has someone been shitting in my mouth while I sleep?"
He was like, "You got all the stuff on your teeth, man. What's going on?" And I was like, "I brush and I
listen, man,
whatever." Yeah, it was the man for me. And then he was like, "Do you snore?" And I was like, yeah. And he was like, because you're fucking sleeping with your mouth open. He's like, you got to lose weight, man. You got to lose weight. And I was like, I am so upset. Right. I left there really upset. And in hindsight, I wish he's in my mouth. So I can't be like, fuck you. So I kind of was just like, and just
Did you go to
took it?
Did you?
Yeah, I never went back to him again.
Good. Fuck that guy.
But yeah, so that's.
Go on Yelp and rip him
And when
apart.
I was a child, my dentist slapped me in the face.
Yes, I remember that.
Yep. Because I grabbed his hand while he was about to give me an injection, and he slapped me, and then put his hand on my head and put his forehead to mine and said I'm sorry I hit you. It's just because you were in danger. And then something along the lines of please don't tell your mother.
Did you?
I must have, because mom knows.
Boy.
She didn't. She was just like, whatever. You probably deserved it.
In the 80s, you could just hit other people's kids.
Yeah, it was the early 90s.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Or the 90s. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, dentists are hard.
Dentists are hard.
I have a nice dentist now. I like
I have a lovely dentist now.
I guess what I did the other day. I made an appointment for the regular doctor, but I'm not sick. I just made an appointment because I was like, I'm in my 40s now. I should just go for regular checkups.
Stuff checked out. Have you had a colonoscopy yet?
Yes.
You have?
Yeah, I've had a colonoscopy.
Wow, that's quick.
When I had the colitis we were talking about before.
Oh, right. Because you're supposed to start those at 40.
Right, because I had that issue. They gave me one young.
Yeah.
I haven't had a prostate exam, though.
You should.
Well, technically speaking...
Well, we're supposed to have testicular exams once a year since from your 20s.
Right.
I haven't had one of those.
No. I was looking this up because, cancer is my greatest fear.
Yeah. I just want you to know, you will get it one day. Almost everybody does. That's the scary thing.
60% of men over 65 get prostate cancer. The
majority
majority of
one
people,
kind.
Yeah. Right. If you're a man and you live to be 65, you're going to get prostate cancer.
So this is my feeling about it because I also live in terror of cancer, but I'm a lot better now because I came to accept that having the privilege to grow old means that you'll probably get some kind of cancer.
Right, and it's not a death sentence.
It's not, and it's also just, it's like, if you look at the stats, nearly everybody gets it at some point if they live long enough.
And we, people talk about there's no cure for cancer, which of course there isn't, but it's not a disease that you could cure. It's just what what happens when your cells.
But right, my feeling is it's not a disease. Of course, it's a disease, but it's not like a foreign thing. It's this is what kills humans.
It's a mutation that happens to all animals.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
This is what kills us.
Right. Well, you just have to be checked.
Yeah.
Prostate cancer is the most livable cancer because
I thought it was a really bad one.
No.
What am I thinking of?
Pancreatic.
Or rectal. Rectal's really bad too, I think.
I don't think so. I don't know. I know pancreatic. By the time you know it, you're done. I don't know.
Okay.
But no. Also, prostate grows really, really slowly, and this freaks me out. I never want to be in this situation. Often, if you're young enough, if they find a prostate cancer, they'll opt to not do anything and just watch it. But me with my OCD, I can't imagine just walking around all day knowing I have cancer. I would just be like, "Oh, I've got cancer right now. How are you?"
It's also crazy the fact that you can have cancer in your skin, cancer in your bone, cancer in your blood, cancer in your brain. It's what even is it?
It's just a mutation. It's the cell making a mistake.
Yeah. Well, it makes me think of John Green's masterpiece, The Fault in Our Stars.
Yeah.
Which I still love. When she says the thing about cancer, what she says she hates that fuck cancer, battle against cancer thing, because she's cancer is just you.
Right.
The cancer is made of you.
Right.
It's not something you catch.
Hearing you speak, I want to emotionally and intellectually evolve to the point where I'm not so terrified of it, but I am so terrified.
No, I mean I'm not free from fear. I just kind of
so scared.
Made a little bit of progress and felt acceptance of anything is always freedom, and I just feel like that's what it is.
Well, before I was telling you the hilarious tale of when I ate that white slice of pizza and then I ended up getting colitis.
Yeah.
It was one of the hardest times of my life because after I came home from the hospital, they were like, "You have colitis and you have to go get a colonoscopy," and it's it takes months to get a colonoscopy. You've got to go through it, and then because of my age, they didn't want to pay for it. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So it was 3 months before I could get it, a quarter of a year, and that was probably the most. It wasn't the most depressed I ever was because I wasn't depressed. It wasn't the most anxious I ever was necessarily, but it was the most fearful I ever was.
Yeah.
I was afraid every day that I'm sick, that I'm really sick, and I've got something inside me. And Jen could tell you, I was just haunted by it. When I got my colonoscopy and I came and it was over and he said, "We didn't find anything. There were no polyps or anything. You'll come back in 5 years." I felt I know it sounds stupid.
You got a new lease on life.
I felt like I lived. I felt like I beat cancer.
Well, it's also such a testament to the power of anxiety. You really can convince yourself this is it, and then when they say to you "Oh, it's fine," it's no. I've spent all this time worrying.
Well, you said, I mean, a lot. You get it. You know what I mean? People get it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why not me be the one who gets it?
Yeah. It's
like when people like I've never had that great level of deniability where you're like, nah, don't worry about it. Like, like if somebody gets cancer and it's gonna be me. I can't.
I worked with and was pretty close with somebody who died of cancer, and it was very painful and very tragic for them. And I will say that the lesson that I took away from that person is they were a person of like, I hate the doctor, so I'm going to ignore everything. And like, it's hard to strike a balance because you don't want to be a hypochondriac, but at the same time, this person had problems for a long time that they didn't address because they were like, they just didn't like the doctor.
See that's
and
not
then by the
something I would ever be.
by the
I'm a
time they
hypochondriac.
finally went, they were like stage 4.
Yikes.
So you gotta.
That's not my fear.
Yeah.
That's not my fear. That's not my issue.
Right, because
I'm a hypochondriac.
You're a hypochondriac. Yeah.
Like you were just talking about, I should get a prostate exam. There's two. There's the finger, and then there's like a blood exam.
Yeah.
I was looking it up, and they start doing it at 45, I think. But I was like, oh, but I'm young. It could still happen. And you read, you Google things, and you read like, oh, more and more people under 40 are getting prostate cancer. You're like, oh God, that could be me.
You can't Google things.
But then so then I was like, oh, maybe when I go, I'll ask him for it. But then I remember insurance, and it's like, if I might have to pay a shit ton of money if I ask for it. Mm-hmm. And it's not something he would normally give me. You know what I mean? Because the insurance company would go, you're too young for this. That's what was going to happen with my colonoscopy.
Yeah.
They were going to make me pay for my colonoscopy because they said I was too young.
Yeah.
But you know what? Whether I get a prostate exam or not, I told myself that I got to get into that habit. Like, I have a doctor. I've had a doctor for years, but I only ever went to him when I was sick. And for some reason, the doctor's office that I go to, they don't send me that reminder of, hey, we miss you, come back. I don't know why. So, like, I will go, like, if I have a healthy year, I'll go a year without going. And I was like, you know what? Like, I just got to go. Mm-hmm. So I made an appointment for soon, and I'm just going to go. And I think it's the first time since I was a kid that I'm going to the doctor without being sick. Yeah. And I hope that if I do that enough, it helps me get over some of the anxiety of going to the doctor.
Yeah. I have the same fears you do in regards to, like, what if they're not testing for enough? Because I don't know if I've talked about this on the podcast before, but my husband and I are trying to adopt. And part of that process is we have to get a physical once a year until we adopt to continue to prove to the state that we're healthy enough to adopt so that we can get a renewal on our license to adopt or whatever. So every year we go for a checkup, and the list of tests that they could do is like as long as my arm.
Right.
But they only do like 3 of them.
Right.
They just check for this, check for this, check for that. Those are the basics.
And it's
like
all
those 300 other tests, they're just simply not testing for because it's like, oh, we don't need to.
Right. Well,
it would be a waste of money and a waste of time.
But
yeah.
It's based on statistics.
Yeah.
You're not in the age group that it normally happens to.
Right.
So we're not going to give it to you.
Yeah. It's wild.
And also your coverage isn't going to pay for it.
Yeah.
Like if I were rich, I would really let my hypochondria go crazy.
You would just have a private doctor.
I would just be every day, like getting every test.
Mm-hmm. But I bet you that would actually just fuel more anxiety. It wouldn't. You'd never feel better.
Yeah, you're right. I have to evolve. Well, on this horrible note, let's take a break. And come
We're
back
chilling with cancer.
Come back with obsessions. Welcome back to PCMC, Pop Culture, Man, Children. It's time for obsessions. Today you tipped to me that your obsession. You said, "Can an obsession be political?" I said, "Here he goes. He's going to be endorsing RFK Jr."
Everybody get ready.
Everybody get ready.
Brainworms for president.
So I was like, "All right, whatever you want." I'm
gonna go. I'll be endorsing.
So
Trump.
I'm gonna go first because, as always, mine is frivolous compared to what you're gonna fucking talk about.
No, mine's kind of all right. Go ahead.
My obsession is pumpkin spice, and
all right, yeah,
I'm doing something different this year.
Okay, you're shooting it right into your veins.
I have decided No one has challenged me, but I've made this challenge myself.
Mm-hmm.
I've decided to try every seasonal pumpkin spice beverage from every chain.
That's a lot now.
Yeah, because you don't just have Starbucks and Dunkies.
You got Tim Hortons.
You got Tim Hortons. You got Krispy Kreme, who was the first out the gate. Yeah. I tried their shit already.
Yeah. I can't believe it's
McDonald's.
August. It's August, and we're talking pumpkin spice. But go ahead.
I'm going to try every one.
What else
at
is
least
there?
Once.
There's a lot more than that too.
Well, I'm not going to do like pumpkin spice Cheerios.
Wendy's?
Yes, I looked today to see if they were bringing back their pumpkin frosty.
Oh yeah,
I did not see one.
Let me tell you something about Wendy's coffee.
But it's got to. Here's the thing: it's got to be liquid.
Yeah.
I'm not going for pumpkin spice Oreos or whatever.
Yeah,
and it's got to be seasonable. It's got to be a treat.
Okay.
I've already had.
What about a pumpkin spice donut?
No, I mean I like that shit, but it's not.
But
part
you're
of
not
the
gonna.
challenge.
Okay, yeah.
It's not part of the challenge. I'm challenging myself to.
Yeah.
I had Krispy Kreme has a frozen pumpkin spice latte, which I don't necessarily know what that means. Does that mean like it's like a smoothie or whatever?
Frozen pumpkin spice latte.
It's kind of like.
It sounds like a no. What were they called? Coladas.
Well, it's kind of like frozen hot chocolate. I think.
Yeah, or like Dunkin' Colada.
It tasted like a pumpkin spice milkshake.
Ew.
And it was so fucking good. But I also want to say
this.
Caffeine
in it?
Yes. I want to say this before you go on to talk about RFK.
No, I was going to say, let me tell you something about Wendy's coffee.
Tell me.
So the Dunkin' Donuts that I go to every morning on the way to work is right next to a Wendy's. Sometimes when I'm running a little late, there's a long line at the drive-thru, and I refuse to get out of my car because I'm lazy and fat.
Yeah, your dentist told me.
Yeah, my dentist told me I'm a fat piece of shit. So one day it was really long and I was running late and I was like, I can't wait on this line, but I need to get coffee. I'm like one of those people like I need to have coffee in the morning.
Yeah.
So then my eye wanders over to Wendy's and there's nobody online there and I'm like, let me just see what's going on over here. Let me see what's up. Uh-huh. I pull over there. They have coffee, iced coffee. I order an iced coffee from Wendy's. It's lickety split in my hands because nobody else is getting Wendy's.
They're like, really? You want?
Yeah. And let me tell you something. Like, it was one of the best iced coffees I've ever had. But
yeah,
all day long, people were like, "Are you drinking a Wendy's coffee?" So like, I can't.
Are you drinking a Frosty at this meeting right now?
The judgment was too much. Otherwise, I would have been a convert and just.
First of all,
it was so sweet.
Live out loud.
It was so sweet and delicious. It was like definitely like 14,000 calories.
If you like it, do it. Don't let anyone.
I would gain. I mean, it was so. I would have an immediate heart attack.
I thought that was going
delicious.
in the exact opposite direction.
No, I'm telling you, it's good.
Because I've tried Burger King iced coffee.
Oh, I'm sure that's bad.
It is. It feels like an AI iced coffee. Like it's sort of like iced coffee, but it's also
got the essence of iced coffee.
But it feels synthetic, like it was made in a lab.
Made in a lab that also produces coffee.
It was god awful.
Yeah, no, Wendy's was a delight, and I got some like little breakfast potatoes that were really really good too.
You know what? Dance like nobody's watching. Do it and do
the
it.
thing
Don't
with Dunkin' Donuts is that Dunkin' Donuts isn't that good. It's just that it's everywhere.
I feel like people dunk.
Oh boy,
pun intended.
I'm not saying
too much, and I feel
it's
like
not bad.
Yeah, I don't think it's bad at all. I think it's good.
I think it's all right.
I don't think it's all right. I think it's good. I think Dunkin' Donuts is good.
Do you think it's better than Starbucks?
It's apples and oranges.
Starbucks coffee
offers you something a little different.
Starbucks coffee I've always found to be
subtle.
Stronger and like a little burnt tasting.
Although, yes, but it's stronger in flavor profile, but I think Dunkin's has the most caffeine.
That's interesting.
And Dunkin' their regular coffee has vanilla extract in it.
Of course it does.
Makes it smooth.
Dunkin' Donuts invented making people's coffee for them?
See,
like prior to Dunkin' Donuts,
innovative.
When you got coffee and you did the milk and cream and sugar on your own.
That was your own business.
Dunkin' Donuts pioneered we'll make it to your liking. That's what made them so popular.
Wow. And that's fucking the model for everybody.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Have you had Krispy Kreme coffee?
Yeah.
It's not bad.
I'm just so when I go to Krispy Kreme, I'm so concentrated on the donuts that I'm not even paying attention to the coffee.
You ever go and
those donuts are so light and I never feel I never feel more like Homer Simpson than when I go to Krispy Kreme
because you can really fit one hole in your mouth
and I could eat like 25 of them in a row.
They're so just a normal frosted. Yeah. Don't fuck around with anything. Just give me
and they're so light. How could they be so fattening when they're so light? Yeah, physically,
right? Exactly.
They're light as feathers.
It's about volume. Well, that. Oh wait, no. I had one more thing, which was I was going to talk to the haters out there.
Oh boy, were you looking at one?
Here's why I drink pumpkin spice things, because my mouth likes the flavor of pumpkin.
No, you like cinnamon.
Shut the fuck up while I'm talking, sir. Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking. I like pumpkin flavor. I like pumpkin pie from when I was a child. I like pumpkin flavor. If you don't like pumpkin, fine. I'm not saying you should. I'm not saying you're an asshole for not liking pumpkin. But you're saying I'm an asshole for liking it, and fuck you. First of all, how dare you take joy away from somebody in this horrible world? Yeah. A little something brings me joy, and you're going to take it away from me? And also, it's sexist, let's say it, because pumpkin spice is something that women were really into, and whenever women like something in our culture, we have to shit on it. So how dare you sexist?
That's fair. That's fair. I agree.
It's like every fall, it's like, here comes the pumpkin spice lovers, and then here comes the pumpkin spice fucking hate, and you're going to call me basic, and it's like, you know what? It tastes good. I wouldn't have it if it tastes good. You fuck.
I also
choose joy.
I also like cinnamon and brown sugar.
Choose joy. It's more than that. There's nutmeg. There's other shit in it. No, there's other stuff.
That's not.
Yeah.
I don't care. Like, I don't care.
Who cares?
But that's not pumpkin.
Right. Well, yeah. It's like pumpkin pie.
Yeah.
It's the only pumpkin I've ever eaten is pumpkin pie, right? Yeah. I've never bitten into a regular fucking pumpkin.
Oh, I mean, animals do. All right. Why shouldn't you?
Go on. I'm done.
No,
I'm done. Choose joy. Choose joy.
I respect it. I don't judge. I like. I think it's smart that they don't have it all year long.
Because it makes it a fun little event.
They could make a lot of money. I think a lot more money.
But they take away the scarcity of it and the fun of waiting for it. Yeah. It's a big deal. They announce it like it's a big deal. People like me go get it. And it is, and it does fit the fall.
When do they pull it? At Thanksgiving.
Starbucks pulls it fast, like November 1st.
Wow!
Because Starbucks will immediately turn around with their Christmas drinks
stuff.
Yeah,
even though they are leading the war on Christmas.
Yes, because they didn't have baby Jesus.
Which is why I'll
be
endorsing President Donald J. Trump.
Tell me.
So I didn't want to be too baldly partisan. But I don't want to turn off any of our viewers.
Or listeners. No one viewing us.
But listeners. But gosh darn it. I was fucking obsessed with the DNC this week.
Yes.
I watched it every night.
You watched it all, huh?
I watched it all every night. And
That's a lot.
I'm filled with...
There's a lot of filler.
I didn't watch... I tuned in starting at the prime time hour.
I'm going to be honest with you.
So I didn't watch it from... It started at 6:30 every night. I didn't start from 6:30. Those early speakers, like, you hear people talking while they're talking. Like, nobody's even listening to them.
Yeah.
Before, like, 8 o'clock.
I watched Biden's on 2x speed. He was too slow for me.
He's slow. And
I didn't like him.
I love him, but his... He's not he was never a good orator.
Yeah.
And talks too much. His speeches are too long.
Yeah.
And I found that as much as I love him, I think this speech was too much of it was recycled from the State of the Union.
Yeah.
Like word for word recycled from the State of the Union. So anyway, but I loved I'm coconut pilled.
Oh boy.
It's a common phenomenon. I'm choosing to ride this wave of joy and patriotism for as long as I can, because of course it will peter out. And even if we manage to ride it out until the election and she wins, of course she's not going to have stands as a president. Just like any other president,
no, of course
people
not.
will turn on her and her approval will go down and whatever.
Fan of
right, nobody's a fan. Even Obama.
No,
whatever.
A normal cult member would never do that.
But for now, after all we've been through, and after the dread of, oh my God, Trump's going to win.
Yeah.
The thought, even if she doesn't win, just the hope that maybe she might win, where like it feels like this is a reset election, like we got a do-over. Where I was one of the people who was like, Biden shouldn't drop out.
Me
because
too.
I was afraid.
Yes, I was so afraid of him dropping out. When I read he dropped out, I
got so scared.
My heart dropped. I was like, fuck,
but
we're
then,
done.
Within hours, I was like, wait a second, something's happening.
Yeah, and everyone was like, and then all the money. And I think he could really ride the whole 75 more days or whatever. The only thing that could fuck it up
is a bad debate. I think a bad
debate, which I don't think is going to happen, or Trump finally listening to his advisors and like trying to stay on message. He's sort of off script now, which is not helping him at all.
I don't think he will ever. So if you've noticed in the last few rounds, I'm also like I follow politics way too closely for my own mental health, but I just do. If you've watched or listened to his like most recent rallies, he now has a book that his advisors gave him of talking points that he's supposed to stick to.
Joke's on you, I can't read.
But he always is like, you know what? I think I'm going to go off script. Do you think I should go off script? And the crowd goes, yeah, go off script. And he goes off script. Yeah. And then his advisors are like, fuck, he's doing it. So people who worked with him, because everybody knows this is the thing that's crazy. The fact that he's even up in the polls is insane because 40 out of 44 people in his cabinet have refused to endorse him.
Yes.
The DNC had more Republican speakers than any other DNC in history.
My favorite DNC person, my favorite sort of like dark horse speaker that I didn't see coming was that one who worked with him, and she was like
Stephanie Grisham.
Yeah, she's like he
calls you basement
dwellers.
And I believe every word of it.
Why
would all of these people make this stuff up?
No.
Everybody
and God bless those Republicans with a conscience.
For real. And I give it to. Did you see Adam Kinzinger, former Congressman Adam Kinzinger?
Yes.
He was like, when he was like, "Hey, I want to tell my fellow Republicans, the one thing that I've learned about Democrats is they're also patriotic. Like they love their country."
That's an amazing. That's another thing that we've been. That's real. That you never heard Democrats say USA.
Yeah, it's like, but it's like filling me with like joy.
Right. And it's also great because we're taking away. At some point in the 2000s, they owned patriotism. And we let them, and we're taking
and
everything
not
from
fair
them.
Because I've always been patriotic, and I always feel like. Of course I get to criticize my country. That's what the fuck this country's about. Those are Enlightenment principles. We're always trying to push for a more perfect union. Like this love it or leave it bullshit is not patriotism. The let's fight like hell and have a discourse and change policy and see what works and then maybe adjust it later. And this is all a work in progress. That's patriotism.
Yes. Yeah.
So all that aside, I thought all the speeches were amazing. I love Tim Walz. Especially as a teacher.
You mean assistant coach?
Oh, God. That's so stupid. As a teacher, I'm so warmed by the fact that he was a 20-year high school teacher.
Of course.
The fact that he was a football coach who started the Queer Straight Alliance.
Assistant coach.
His wife was a teacher. I love that he's not a lawyer. He didn't go to Ivy League schools.
He really does seem like a real
He's
dad.
a real dad.
He's a real
a mensch.
Dude, yeah.
The way he's a great speaker.
I can't wait to see his debate.
I love when
him against fucking JD Vance is going to be incredible.
He was. I think did we talk about this where he was being interviewed and I think it was Jake Tapper was like, they say you're a communist because you're so far left and radical. You provided free breakfast and lunch to the kids in Minnesota. Yeah. And he was like, oh, what a monster. I fed school children. And then he, in his speech, when he was like, while other politicians were banning books, we were banning hunger in Minnesota. It made me. I'm just so filled with like positivity and joy.
Trump's campaign
is so doom and gloom,
and they're right. That's another thing where they've lost. He's become such a complainer and doom and gloom guy that we've got optimism.
Also,
I think Obama's speech was great too.
Oh, he was amazing. So was
first of all that
Michelle.
Dick joke.
Oh my God,
that's like.
The timing was impeccable.
Expert level delivery. Yeah. Like what? Like the way he did it, and then he looked at it, like perfect acting out. Like this is like top tier comedy. I was like, holy shit! How did he sell that? I love I Got Nothing to Lose Obama because he's still a great speaker, but he's looser.
Right. Yeah. I think that I also think "Make America Great Again" as a slogan, "We're not going back" is such a perfect rebuttal to "Make America
Yes.
Great Again."
Yes.
Because it's like, stop looking to the past. We're fucking moving to the future. Like,
Yeah.
this campaign's about moving into the future. I love that.
Yeah.
I think it's so good.
And also,
I
one
think,
says the past was good, and the other says the past is bad.
right.
And it's so we don't want to go back there.
Right.
There was bad.
Right. I think that I've said this before, and I'm not the first person to say this. I think it's so amazing that, and I loved Hillary Clinton, but I think that Kamala Harris is so presidential.
Yeah.
Even though no other president, she looks like nobody who's ever been president before. There's something about her presence.
Yeah.
And even the fact that in her speech, she didn't talk about being a woman.
No.
She didn't talk about, like, she alluded to it, but she was just like, I'm the fucking president. I'm
Yeah.
going to be president.
Yeah.
It was just amazing. But my favorite part of the whole week was all the fun and the joy and the roll call, which is so nerdy to love the roll call.
Right.
But did you see any of it?
I saw Little John.
Every state had like celebrity
musical
guests and
thing, yeah.
music, and they had a DJ, and it was
Ridiculous.
just so much fun.
Crazy.
I'd love the side by side of like the Republicans where they were like, now the state of Georgia will call the roll, and then it cuts to the DNC. It's like, yeah,
Tear down for what?
And then did you hear what he went? He did VP Harris, Governor Walz. It was so good.
Incredible.
So I'm riding this wave of joy, and that's my obsession.
You should ride this wave of joy. I don't think we. I think that they're right when they keep telling us, "Hey, it's still going to be a tough fight."
Yeah, it is.
But I think
Because
you
our
have
system is broken and 6 states decide the election. So
right, and the dumbest people decide the election.
Yeah.
The people who are undecided.
yeah,
Well, I think hope is good. Hope is back, baby. That
That's
was
what Obama
Obama's
said,
thing.
yeah.
Hope is back. The little dick joke, because you also know that it gets to Trump.
oh, of course.
He is so thin-skinned.
He's so easy to goad. That's the best part of him.
right, because he's
And you know he's
'cause he's so
watching
weak.
every minute of it.
right.
Wait, the best is last night after Kamala Harris' speech. What did you watch Kamala Harris' speech?
Yes,
What channel did you watch it on? Did you watch it on?
I watched it today on YouTube.
Okay, I watched it on CNN, and right afterward, Jake Tapper was like, just in case anybody's wondering if Donald Trump is sticking on message, he posted on Truth Social over 40 times in the last hour.
And it was all
And
nonsense.
some of his, he was like, some of his posts were, "Where's Hunter?" in all capitals.
Yeah.
He was an assistant coach in all capitals. And he's like, so anyway, like, it was just so funny that it's just like, of course, this man baby did exactly what you thought the man baby was going to do.
Yeah, he's and in some ways he is a different Trump from the
Where's
first
Hunter?
time.
Who cares?
I know, because he's just got his own little things.
He's so mad that Biden dropped out. He's so mad.
All right, we got to put this episode to bed.
All right.
We're not going back.
We are not going back.
Anthony, thank you so much for being here.
I'm sorry to disappoint all our rabid MAGA fans out there.
Look, we still love you.
We do.
We end every episode by saying,
Go bye-bye.